What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonia Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And make sure before we get started, you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com and share it with the people that you know. When you guys go to our website, you can see all the ways that you can follow the podcast. You can find all of our social media at the top of the website. You can find ways that you can support the show by clicking the support the show link and shopping through Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps us out. And you'll also find out more about buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod, where you can support us that way. But yeah, you can click around the website, send us a message, and get a hold of us there. Oppositesattractpodcast.com.
There you go.
There you go. So beer kind of day today.
It is. Yes. And normally I'm not really...
Dude, you've been putting the beers down.
Yeah, like I am not really a beer drinker.
You know what though? Like yesterday was like, that's what you were supposed to be doing.
It was so I felt
right?
like that's what I was supposed to be doing.
You were supposed to be drinking beers and gardening and just fucking chilling.
So, yeah.
Right?
So yesterday, wow. Like I really enjoyed yesterday. Like I was in my...
In your element.
I was in my element for sure. But it's so weird though. But anyway, so there we have, our front yard, and I'm just throwing up all kinds of flowers and trees and bird houses and hummingbird feeders and all this good stuff. And I love it because outside where the office is, where I coach, there's a window, and you look out the window and you can see the birds, hear the birds, and connect to nature while I'm in the office, right?
Yeah, it's like that scene where Cinderella's getting her dress made.
Yes, I love it.
You got all the little birds and squirrels running around.
Right. So there is this beautiful spot.
All of Sonia's friends.
That I decided that I was going to make a flower bed. And normally I would buy flowers that have already been planted. Is that how you...
Or propagated.
Propagated, right. Yes. This time I decided, well, I'm going to till the ground, get it ready, and I'm going to plant some seeds. Well, the ground was pretty firm, pretty hard.
I just thought of something that you can share with Joey about that.
Okay, once we get there.
Go ahead.
And so... there I am outside with a pick, with a shovel, and then we have some neighbors that come by and bring me some handy dandy tools, and I'm out there hacking away, loving it though.
Yeah.
Sweating and just all up in it. And so finally when I get the ground softened, I sit in the middle of the dirt, and I just allow my feet to sink in, and it felt just so amazing. I felt very grounded.
Yeah, that's what you said.
And then I got my hands all up in it, and I'm just turning the dirt and being one with the dirt, and full of dirt, by the way. Miguel took a great picture, and we'll post that. And yeah, and so I think you offered me a beer, and I'm like, yeah, because it was warm out. We live in Arizona, so the sun was beaming, and it was just an absolutely beautiful day. And while I'm working outside, I can see my handsome husband working in the office because you were putting together the podcast equipment so that we can record today.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it was alone time. Like I was out there alone for a bit, just being one with the earth.
So there's something that I want to talk that just right now made me think of something. Like, that's your thing. Like you like the gardening, you like the flowers and the plants, and like it's become your thing since you got back from India, since you turned into a dirty hippie, like I've been saying. And but that's your thing, right?
Yes.
And that's okay. Like you have the plants and the flowers. That's not my thing. Yeah. Like I'm not out there gardening and doing, like I don't know, when we decide to start doing the back, and, I'll get in there and do some stuff. But it's not like I don't enjoy it the way you enjoy it. Right? And that's fine. Just like jiu-jitsu and fighting and all that other stuff, like you're not as into it as I am.
Right.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why we're different.
Right. But you do enjoy it. You enjoy watching me enjoy myself.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like that thing that I've been, like when you watch a YouTube video of somebody that's doing something that they're really good at, right? You could watch it. Doesn't matter what. Like I've watched videos of guys just like restoring some old shit they found. But they're just so good at it that by the time they're done with it, you're just amazed at how it turned out, Yeah. Anytime you watch somebody that's good at what they do.
It's very peaceful.
Yeah.
It's almost like a form of meditating.
Yeah.
And I have so much appreciation for life, plant life, tree life, just life in general, having appreciation for nature, for the birds, for just everything, because we are all made up of the same thing. Energy. And so it's not just gardening for me.
Right.
There's more to it for me than just gardening. Like there's something that happens within myself.
It's like a spiritual thing.
It really is. It really is.
That's like for me too, because when I like choke somebody, I feel like I'm sending them to heaven.
But
I'm helping them out.
Yesterday, I'll give you an example of how there's just like a spiritual, for me, there's a spiritual connection. I think for a lot of people that are spiritual, there's something spiritual within gardening, whatever it may be. Anyways, So Joey, yesterday, you and the kids were going to the store to get some supplies that Audrey needed.
Yeah.
And Joey was going, and I don't know what happened, but I was coming into the house and I saw him and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I thought you were going with your dad. He's like, I was, but I decided to stay. And when I saw him, I could see that his eyes were pink. Like he was about to cry or felt like crying. Something was going on with him.
No.
And I'm like, hey, dude, I'm like, why don't you go with me in the front and help me? I can use your help. And he's like, well, what are you doing? I'm planting seeds. And Joey is really into those things as well.
Yeah.
He told me that you called us a dirty hippie.
Yeah.
Dirty hippie.
I was like, you and your mom, you guys are both dirty hippies. But hey, real quick. So can you remember where you're at? One thing that I was thinking was the seeds that you were talking about is talking to Joey, because you know how hard he is on himself about everything and expecting to be good at everything, and everything is supposed to turn out perfect every time.
Right.
It's like you show him all the seeds that you're planting. Mm-hmm. Not every seed is going to turn into a flower. You know what I mean? Like in everything you do, you're going to fail. Birds get the seeds, like, the lessons that we've been taught, like birds get the seeds, some seeds burn up, some seeds don't make it. And then some seeds will turn into flowers, but you can't expect everything to be perfect, Yeah. And he always he has a hard time with that.
Yes. Yeah. I am very hopeful. I'm going to have a beautiful garden.
Yeah. Well,
but no, I understand what you're saying.
Or they could all burn up.
But they're not.
Shriveled little.
I put so much love into those seeds. You're going to see. I took a before picture. Yeah. And we're going to show the after. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, no, that is a good lesson. Another lesson that was coming up for me to share with him is the reason why I had him sit with me. So I take him and we're sitting in dirt and he sees my feet. Like I'm covered in dirt, right? Like no joke. It's just everywhere. And anyways, while he's sitting with me, I started talking to him and I was sharing with him how to connect to the earth, right? Just having that discussion with him. And I asked him, why don't you put your feet into the dirt? Like put your feet all the way into the dirt, submerge your feet into the dirt. And he's like, Mom, you don't like me getting dirty.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, Joey, we're gardening. You're fine. And I shared the story with you earlier, and now I'm kind of stumbling. So I need to connect. But I was telling him before he had put his feet into the dirt, he was wearing pants, and I asked him to fold his pants up. Now, those of you that have been listening to us for a while know that Joe is very particular with the way certain material feels on his body.
How things fit.
Yeah, just all of that.
Yeah.
And then
he's very sensitive to stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I asked him to roll up his pants, and he's like, Mom, that's going to drive me crazy, Mom. Like, I don't like the way that feels. And I said, I understand. And I just asked him to challenge himself. To challenge himself, mind over matter. I said, Joey, it feels amazing.
Yeah.
I said, you're stronger than that. I'm like, you can do whatever it is you put your mind through and challenge yourself to not allow your mind to run you, not to allow your emotions to be in the driver's seat.
Right.
And so he folded up his pants and he put his feet, submerged his feet into the dirt. And then he started to smile. And I said, now I want you to get your hands, open your legs and put your hands in the dirt and just feel one with the earth. And he understands this because that's my little boy, my little hippie. And so, yeah, so he starts just putting his hands in the dirt and just like massaging the dirt, right? And his feet. And I'm like, how does that feel? He says, great. I said, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah.
And I said, do you see how easy you can go from being upset or angry to joy?
Yep.
And he's like, yes. I said, you don't allow your thoughts, your emotions to control you. You control them.
Yeah.
And we had such a beautiful time just sitting there in the dirt, playing with the dirt. And I made a lesson out of it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But it's a constant reminder because kids, he got the lesson. And there's times where he's going to remember the lesson. And then there's times where he's going to it's just like us adults, right? There's times that we know what the right thing to do is, or when we're, upset or in a certain state of mind, and we allow ourselves to become unconscious, allow our emotions to get the best of us. Now we're yelling or we're having a horrible day because we allowed our thoughts, our emotions to take the driver's seat versus stepping out of the situation and taking control.
No.
And that's what it is. It's just being so aware of what's going on within that you're able to make that quick reflection so that you can have a better day, or so that the situation ends up in a more positive
with a more
manner.
positive outcome.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And with him, it is a constant reminder. And just like some of us, like when we get into situations like that, it's a constant reminder.
Right. Yeah.
But once it becomes part of you, it's not that much. It's not something that's top of mind because now it's just something that you do. Now it's just who you are.
Yeah.
Like it could be a split second, like something happens and it's like, whew, right? And you feel that anger, you feel that emotion coming up, but then you recognize it so fast that you're able to adjust right away. Like you don't have to go into a room and meditate.
Yeah. Once you've
It's like you could take a breath in and release it and see it for what it is.
Yeah.
And move past it. You know, but there's still like, though I've been practicing for this for so long, and there's times where you remind me, even if it's just a look.
Yeah, I've gone through that with my temper, you know, where things that before would piss me off or make me angry. Now it's more like I just kind of recognize that would piss me off or make me angry, but I don't have to get pissed off or get angry.
Yeah. You know who recognized that?
Who?
Randy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That you're different.
Yeah.
Right? Because our nephew Randy's with us. And the way you were, the way we were, the way we parented them. Like didn't even, I mean, going back then, like we had no idea what the hell we were doing. We were just figuring it out.
Yeah. I mean, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And yeah, we were different people. And we had 3 teenagers that we were learning to guide.
Right. While we're guiding ourselves.
Yeah. And guiding a newborn.
Right. You know?
Yeah.
But you were sharing with me that you were also talking to Joey about his emotions and not allowing his mind to
take control of him.
Mm-hmm. And what was that situation?
So I think it was the same day. It might have been before or something, but I was downstairs. I was working out, probably doing something downstairs, and I was getting ready to go upstairs. Yeah. And I was going to go change and do something. And you're like, hey, go check on Joey and make sure he's cleaning up his room. Right. And it's like a regular kid thing, right? Where you tell them to go do something and then you go check up on them and they're not doing what they're supposed to do when they're on their tablet or they're playing video games or whatever. Right. Which is normal shit. So the normal parent response is like, hand it over, do what I told you to do. And when you're done, I'll give it back to you. Right. Mm-hmm. So he thought that he was going to lose the tablet forever, you know? Now that I think about it, I think we still have his Nintendo because he lost that one. But he thought he was losing the tablet too, so he was kind of upset. And I had gotten out of the shower, and I asked him, I'm like, hey, are you done? And he's like, yeah, I'm done. But I can see that he's kind of like mopey or like that something's up, right? You can tell when something's up with your kid. And like I sat on the bed and I was calling him over and he's like sitting on the other side of the bed and I'm like, come here. And he like scoots over a little bit. I'm like, come here, dude. Come here. So he comes over and then I start, just hugging him and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? And like at this point, I think that maybe it's that, but I don't really know what. And at that moment, I just kind of took it as an opportunity just to be close with him and hug him. And we just kind of laid down and I hugged him for a while. And I don't know if it was we were going somewhere. We were going to the store or coming back from somewhere. We were in the car and we were talking. I was like, hey, what was going on earlier when you were kind of upset? And I was trying to get down to the bottom of it. And I'm like, was it the tablet? And he was like, yeah, the tablet. And because you had told me this. And I was like, yeah, but that doesn't really matter. I was like, was it the tablet? And then finally he's like, yeah, it was the tablet. That was it. And I'm like, so you got mad because I took away your tablet because you want that tablet and you want to do stuff on the tablet and like you want to get back on the tablet. And I was like, that feeling that you have to have your tablet that you got when you felt that I was taking it away. I'm like, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing that you're feeling that way towards your tablet. What that means is that your tablet is starting to get control of you. You're getting addicted to the tablet, I was like, and, when things like that start to happen, you have to recognize these things. And sometimes you have to maybe it's like a time to challenge yourself. All right, that's it. I'm going to fucking stop and prove it to myself that I'm the one that's in fucking control here. And then if I feel like it, I'll get back on it or whatever. But if you can't, then maybe you just have to stop altogether. I was like, but the bottom line is you're losing control of your mind because it's your mind. I was like, just like I told him, and I've talked about it on here, like how powerful our minds are, right? The things that we can think of. So like a lot of times the reason that we don't achieve the things that we achieve is because we're thinking small, because we're so much more capable, but we're not thinking big enough, right? But our minds are also, it seems like pretty easily able to be tricked. Tricked by people, tricked by apps, tricked by software, technology, all that shit. You know, I even got into it with Joey about people. I'm like, just like you can get tricked, I was like, your tablet is playing a trick on you. It's getting you addicted to it by the games, by leveling up, by all this stuff, by notifications, by all that. I was like, but people can also trick us because people get good at it and they realize that they can trick people. And then they start, they learn how to do it.
They manipulate.
You have to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you know what, I said, you know, what's a good example of that? Because he did something that our daughter's doing. I was like, Hitler. I was like, you know what's one thing that he was probably really good at? And he's like, speaking. I was like, yeah. I was like, so you have to be careful. You have to pay attention to what's going on. What are you putting in? I think I was talking to Audrey about that too, you know, because it's the truth. Like there's a saying that in order for evil or for bad to prevail, all you need is for good men to do nothing. That's all you need. And that's kind of what happened, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like you have to pay attention to what's going on. If it's not right, just because everybody else is doing it, doesn't mean you need to do it. Yeah. You know? But the only way that you get that is by being aware.
Yeah.
By paying attention, by being present.
Yeah. Yes. Because also you will get signs within, right? Like a lot of times we know when something is for us and when something's not for us.
I don't want to make this like a fucking political thing, but a lot
of
people got that feeling not that long ago with this whole fucking COVID thing. There's like some shit going on. It's like, there's some shit that's for me. There's some shit that's not for me.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want no business with that shit.
Yeah.
And you know it. And then there's all kinds of people that are like, this shit's for me. It's like, great. Fucking go for it.
Yeah.
But you got to pay attention. What is the truth? What is happening?
And a lot of times it's kind of like when I talk about like coaching with the false beliefs. Where do those come from? Society, social media, sometimes our parents, say something that they plant that seed and now that's just something that we believe. Religion does it as well.
Yeah.
Could be a best friend.
We all know politics does it.
Big
time. That's all it is.
So I tell my clients, like a lot of the times it's not what I'm about to teach them. A lot of it is unlearning. Like unlearning. And at times we do things very repetitive, not even knowing that we're doing them, like making the same bad decision over and over again because there's some unhealed trauma or unhealed hurt within that causes us to see things or do things a certain way.
No. No.
And then once you're healed from that, then you're healed from that. I mean, we've shared many examples of that within our relationship.
Yeah.
Where we were blindly treating each other a certain way because of our past.
Yeah,
but once we recognize that, it hasn't came up since then.
Right. You just have to be aware. You have to be present and pay attention. Yep.
Yes, yes. So our children, Arizona, they're about to go on summer break already. Where did the time go?
I know.
Crazy busy. Adriana just received 2 awards. That same day she was receiving her rewards, Joey had a band concert. So we had to split. I took pictures, I took videos. I need to share with you on that. But sitting there, I was with my nephew Randy, and just watching her response, just watching her, the way she interacts with her friends, how she holds herself.
It is crazy. The other day I was dropping her off at school and just seeing like her friends come up to her and give her a hug. And it's like, these are all like little people that have their own little community and circle and, you know, like their own little personalities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like we did.
Yes. And I'm watching her small circle of friends that she has. And a lot of them are smart kids.
Yeah.
She likes hanging out with, I love that about her, that she's very particular with who she lets in her circle or who she becomes friends with. Your associations, we talk about it a lot. Your associations can make you or break you.
Yeah.
You know? And watching her go up there to receive her medal, she was recognized for her athletic abilities.
Yeah.
And one of her teachers nominated her for academics.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It was her favorite teacher.
Dude, I've been telling her, I was like, I'm so proud of you. Like everything that you've been doing in school, you know, like she's on top of it.
Yeah. And what's so great too is that we don't have to be on top of her. Like she just takes care of business.
She takes ownership.
Yes, she does.
She takes ownership of her own stuff.
Yes.
Like that is one thing that it seems like that has stuck a little bit with her, at least when it comes to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not just school, but school, athletics and stuff like that. Like she gets it.
Yeah.
She knows that if she's not performing, it's probably because she's not practicing enough. Like she knows that if she's not, like she's kind of getting that down.
Yes.
Those lessons are rubbing off.
That I wasn't going to do this, but I want to do this because I think it might help someone listening that has a teenager, maybe a preteen, and you're struggling with that relationship. When I was coaching, or when I was going through my personal coaching myself, there were things that were coming up for me that I had to release. You know, we talk about integrity, we talk about being your word, and just coming clean. Any dark secrets or anything that comes up and just releasing that. And I had recognized a false belief within myself about how I felt about me being intelligent or me being smart, right? Like I'm a kinesthetic learner.
What does that mean?
Means I learn by doing. So while the teacher is up there explaining and on the board and doing her thing, I don't start learning. I am totally lost.
Right.
I don't start learning until I do it myself.
Yeah.
And so I always had doubt within me that I wasn't smart enough. And I recognize me being different at a young age. And being different doesn't mean that you're not smart. Because what I may be good at, you may not be good at. Right? When it comes to academics, like you are a very smart man. You're a very intelligent man. You remember shit. You can read something. You are like a freaking sponge. You are like my sister Diane. Diane was that,
No.
right? I am more like artsy fartsy. I'm great at sales. I'm good at those things, naturally good at those things, when most others would struggle.
Yeah. Yep.
And so when I was going through my coaching, baby, are you able to grab my laptop?
Yeah.
I recognized this false belief within myself. And I started going within, and I recognized that I was raising Adriana in that false belief, the false belief that I had about myself.
So it's like you were passing it down to her?
I was doing everything I could.
Or you were parenting her from that
fear,
false belief?
From that fear. I was parenting her from that fear.
Okay.
And I was writing a letter to her. It was more like a journal or like a journal, like I was journaling.
So you're saying like you were parenting her from the thought that you're not smart enough.
Right. Right.
So was it kind of like you were putting it on her?
Or
that she should act the way you did because you felt you weren't smart enough, or what?
I was doing everything in my power to help her gain, just
to feel like
make
she
sure
was
that
smart.
she was smarter than me.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel.
Because you didn't feel smart.
Right. So I'll read the letter to you all. So it says, this was back in August of 22, so just last year. But it says, Audrey, I'm so amazed by you. When I became a mommy, I was so worried because I wasn't sure how to be a mommy. I read so many books about how to parent. I didn't want to mess this up. I did everything, and I wrote this letter according to her age at that time.
Okay.
Do you understand? Okay. I read so many books about how to parent. I didn't want to mess this up. I did everything I could to make it perfect. I read a book that said if you would play classical music and put it on your tummy, put it on my tummy, you would hear the music and it would help to develop your brain. So I did exactly that. That's probably why you don't like that music. Like, she doesn't like classical music, but then again, what kid does, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think I was smart, so I wanted to make sure that I helped you to be smart in any way I can. I did so much. I even had you reading and watching My Baby Can Read, which was a program that helped you learn to read at an early age. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I used to get the bootlegs.
Yeah. You were only allowed to watch programs that were educational. That's why I didn't allow you to watch SpongeBob. There were times where their cousins were watching SpongeBob. They wanted to watch SpongeBob, and I refused.
You see, that's like good hood parents.
Good hood parents.
You get Your Baby Can Read. It's the bootleg version, but you still got it.
I wanted you to be smarter than me. It's so crazy how long it took me to realize I was running from myself while raising you. It took me over 4 decades to realize how amazing I am. It took me 4 decades to realize that I had more compassion and love for others than I had for myself. I realized that my negative thoughts were affecting me and not allowing me to love you for you. I am so sorry. I know that I can be hard on you. I'm sorry. I know I can be demanding. I'm sorry. I know that I have yelled at you for misunderstanding you. I'm sorry. I know I have been impatient with you. I'm sorry. I know I'm not perfect, and I'm learning to be the best me for us. I know we all tend to look at the negative in ourselves, and we don't realize the effects it has on us. There are days where I can read your thoughts, and I can see that you are being hard on yourself or being mean to yourself. Please be kind to you. Please love you more than you love anyone else. I know that sounds selfish, but what I mean is if you wouldn't say what you say to yourself to someone else, then don't allow that thought in. I wish you could see me, or I wish you could see you through my eyes. Your smile is contagious. Your laughter is like music to my ears. You are beautiful, talented, and smart. You You are who I strive to be. You are goal-oriented, athletic, and you have this don't quit attitude that I just love. You are teaching me so much, and I appreciate you. You're teaching me as much as I'm teaching you. You are unique, and there is no one like you. My wish for you is that you live your life to your full potential, that you love you first, that you do not allow fear to stop you from living, that you love with compassion, kindness, empathy, and never change for anyone else but you. Be forever the student. Continue to learn new things. Challenge yourself. Love like you have never loved, and never allow a broken heart to stop you from loving. Never lose the child within, no matter how old you get. One day you will get married and have babies. Know that no matter how old you get, you will always be my baby. I will always be here for you. I will never stop loving you, no matter how many mistakes you make. Also, never stop dating your daddy, even when you are married. I love you, baby. You are my world and everything in it.
I need to take her on a date.
I've heard from clients, from friends, just by sharing this letter that I wrote to her, it helped them to recognize how they were raising their children in fear.
Yeah.
Whether they got pregnant at an early age and they don't allow them to be free to do the things, to make mistakes, because they're so fearful that they're going to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah.
They don't recognize that they are their own person. And allowing them freedom to make mistakes, to really find out who they are, versus doing everything to make their parents proud. You know, I don't know who it was, but someone was sharing with me that their parents owned a business. And I can't remember who it is, but I wouldn't say who it is anyways, but that the parents wanted them to take over the business. But that was not their dream. They didn't feel that was their purpose. Right. And their parents basically disowned them because of that.
Wow. But
do you know how many of us do that?
Right. You know, that reminds me of something that I'll get into here in a minute. But before I do that, make sure you guys go to oppositestattractpodcast.com. Share it with the people that you know. When you guys go to our website, you'll see at the top all of our social media. You can click on it and follow us there. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, all the different ways. Wherever you can listen to a podcast, you can download our podcast and listen to it. So if you're watching it and you can't get through the whole thing and you want to listen to it somewhere else, you can do that. And like we mentioned, you can also watch this on YouTube and on Facebook. And we put up clips on our other social media that you can find on our website. You can also send us a message when you're on the website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, by clicking this contact us. And you can support us by clicking the support the show tab and going to the Amazon link. And whenever you do your shopping, you click on that link, check out, and it helps out the show whenever you do that.
Yes, yes. I was not paying attention. Did you talk about the resource list?
I didn't.
Okay. So the resource list, when you go to the website, if you give it a couple of seconds, there's going to be like a pop-up window that
they don't have a choice.
Up.
It comes up.
Oh, so it comes up, and once it comes up, you put in your information, your email, your name, all that good stuff. What it will generate shortly after, you'll receive an email with a resource list of videos, podcasts, books, things that have helped us in our growth, from marriage, parenting, finances, and so much more.
Yep. Just changing our perspective on different things in life.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you guys can download it for free.
Yes. And if you would like to support us in a different way, cheers, you can buy us a virtual drink, whether it's coffee, beer, champagne, wine, whatever it is. You can go, you can also subscribe on a monthly basis as well. And that is whatever they choose to donate, correct?
Right. And they can go to
buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod.
There you go.
And if you have any questions or comments, or maybe you have done something that has helped you impact, well, not impact, but helped, with parenting, maybe this resonates with you, what I'm sharing today, and you did something different. Would love to hear from you. So you can give us a call, leave us a voice message
at 480-331-9846.
Yes.
Yep. And you can leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. If you just want to call into the show and say hi. If you have a question for us, you can be anonymous and leave it to us there. And we can play it on the show and answer your questions here. So, yep. Yes. 480-331-9846. So, one thing that I was thinking was, on a previous episode, we talked about, like how to be a supportive spouse, right? And like how I kind of see our relationship and like the things that you want to do. But when you have that way of thinking, it's not just you that it applies to. You know what I mean? Because when you really look at it, like this life that we live, everybody has their own individual life. And you were just talking about like false beliefs and the things that we get taught that are like ingrained in us, that eventually we take like, this is like solid foundational shit. And then you find out, well, no, that was something that was taught to you by somebody.
Right.
You can actually think completely different from that if you want. And then when you really start thinking about just the entire world, the states, the countries, like we've talked about here before, like that, the states and the countries are all just like imaginary lines that somebody made up. The governments are just groups of people that people made up. These are all done by people. Taxes, insurance, businesses. What the fuck is a corporation? That's something that a human being invented in their mind and just made up. So like everybody has their own life that we're living, and you should be allowed to do whatever the hell you want in your life, right? Even if that's your kids. Like, yeah, as parents, we're allowed to guide them. Like, I mean, we're allowed to guide them through their life. We help them through their life, but they're their own people too. We don't own them. So that's kind of how I look at it. And we recently had, it's not a situation because it is what it is. But Audrey's been playing softball, right? And she recently decided that she maybe lost a little bit of the fire for softball. Maybe she still likes it, but she doesn't want to compete in it. And she wants to focus and not just focus on other things. It seems like she wants to have other experiences, right? She wants to sing. She wants to run track. She wants to do really good in school. And it's like, how can you not want that for her too? Right?
Right.
She's a good kid.
Mm-hmm.
This is her life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, she was all about softball. You're allowed to be all about something and then change your mind.
4 businesses later. No. Like, yeah.
But who was anybody to say?
Right.
And I think even when it comes to parenting, another thing is, or a different situation is like parents parenting from expectations that they had for themselves.
Yes.
Things that they wanted to do that they never did.
Like
that now they want their
children,
kids to do stuff.
Living through your children.
And it's like, what if they don't want to do that?
Right. Yeah. That causes division, conflict. I mean, when Adriana first told us that she no longer wanted to play in club, I remember the thought that came up when she said that. Yeah. Like, wait a minute. We invested how much money in this?
Dude,
right?
Like the bat's $500, the gloves $300. We just bought a pair of cleats
we sent
that were
it to
$100.
New York.
Like
the plane ticket was like $1,000 for training.
Right.
Just that, like that was a thought. And I saw the thought and I let that thought fly by. Right? Because imagine the old us, we would have been, you signed up. This was your decision. We spent this amount of money. You're seeing this through.
Through to what?
Like
through to fucking what? Till you're a fucking professional softball player or what?
Well, no.
You know what I mean?
But
or till I'm fucking satisfied.
Exactly. That's not the old us.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's fucked up.
Right. But that's where we are today. That's what we've grown to today.
And I think in a way you have to make sure, because we did make an investment in this stuff. And you make sure that it is what it is. Like she's just lost the fire for it.
Yeah.
And if that is what it is, then it's okay.
Right.
If she's doing things that are positive in her life, that's what's important. Right? I mean, we just came from a freaking award thing.
Yes.
How are you going to give her a hard time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's just, it's giving them the freedom, again, to find out who they are. And I was listening to The Untethered Soul. And it talks about beliefs and exactly what I was just going over, what I coach on too. And when you start to focus on that, you realize a lot of the shit that comes up.
When you focus on what?
Like when you start paying attention to your thoughts and then your belief, like, wait, is that really who I am? Like, is that, you start questioning.
Yeah.
And you start learning like who you are. But we're not taught to look within. It's kind of like when you send your kid to school and you tell them, you need to focus. You need to listen. What does that mean? Do you think that comes natural? Because there's a right way to listen. Yeah. And if you're in front of someone, but you're thinking about something else and you're not fully present, you're not listening. Listening takes you being connected to all five senses. And I do this as a coach. And I've had to train myself to do this. It did not come natural. Yeah. And you know who is my biggest teacher?
Who's that?
You.
How's that? Oh, because I just walk away?
Because I would catch myself. I would catch myself while you're talking to me. I'm looking at you, but I'm not hearing shit you're saying.
Dude.
I'm like over here. I'm like elsewhere. And all I see are your lips moving. And then I catch myself and I'm like, okay, that's not cool. And I redirect myself. And not only that, but there were times where you would just walk away.
Yeah.
You're like, never mind. And that made me feel bad because I never want to make you feel like you're not important or what you have to say or what you're excited about is not important to me. And that's what helped me and it's with everybody. It's with our children. It's with the little boy that was talking to us yesterday when we were walking the dogs, and we were not in a great state of mind because of our dog, which we'll get into that a little bit. But what was going on with the dog, like we were not in a good spot. And we were just kind of
sweet little boy.
Yeah, and we were just kind of taking that time to be with her and to be with each other. And then this little happy boy, he's so cute, comes along, chunky, big cheeks, full of life, full of light.
We just took her to the park to go walk her out a little bit.
And he comes out and he is just talking up a storm.
It's like, you know, when kids, like they get in that mode where they just want their little chatterbox. They want to keep talking.
But he was so cute. Like the way he would talk.
His imagination and everything.
And the way he was expressing himself. And I felt myself check out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, he doesn't deserve this. Like he wants us. He wants this attention. He wants to share this with us. You know, and I recognize it in you too. When you tuned back in, because then you started asking him questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you start to practice being present, being aware and truly listening to people, so much will change within. And then the next thing will come up. Like, okay, what else? What is it that I need to work on?
That's funny. Like how you mentioned, like how you could be looking at me.
Yeah.
There was a video that I was just watching. It was a jiu-jitsu video. And it was the guy that I went to his gym in Kentucky and visited it. But he was talking about, he had received an email from somebody talking about how they want to coach jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And their coach said, "Great, you want to coach? I have an opportunity for you. You can coach kids." And he's like, "That's not really what I was looking at doing." You know what I mean? I don't know if he's like a purple belt or whatever, but he's like, I want to kind of teach a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Great, you can teach kids." He's like, "Oh shit." Like, cause the way he sees it, it's like, I'm not teaching jiu-jitsu. I'm fucking babysitting pretty much. Right. And one of the things that the guy was saying is that you'll learn a lot from teaching kids. And you'll learn different things. He's like, but one of the differences between kids and adults that you'll notice is that kids won't pay attention. And adults don't pay attention sometimes. The difference is that you can have an adult that'll look you right in the face.
Yeah.
And they look like they're fucking paying attention.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to do the move, it's like, what the fuck did we just do? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Dude, and I've had that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I was like, no shit. Like I've had those moments.
Yeah. Yeah. We all have those moments in everything we do in life. But when that happens with your significant other, like the person that you love,
yeah,
you know, it does for me. It woke me up a bit. And then, you know, it's with Audrey and Joey too. It's just being in the moment and being aware. And you do learn a lot from that simple awareness, just that in itself.
Yeah.
And then that turns into focus.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Because the best way to not get something done is lack of focus. Right? It's, for example, like I went to go see Audrey right now before we started recording.
Yeah.
And I walk in and she's sitting on her bed, you know, and I'm like, and I'm looking around her room and I don't see her project up there that she's supposed to be working on. And she was just telling me how she doesn't have the time to do certain things. So I walk into her room and I see her. I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Nothing." And I just looked around her room and I looked at her. What Adriana does, she will benefit from focusing.
Yeah.
Because she's just the way like me. That was me. I'll start doing one thing and then another thought comes up and then I start doing something else and everything is half-assed, right? It's not 100% complete at times because you're working on one thing, a thought comes up, you start working on the other. You forgot that you were working on, your food is burnt. The clothes have been sitting in the washer for a few hours now because you forgot, because you went downstairs and realized that the floors needed to be swept. So you started sweeping the floors and forgot about the laundry that was upstairs and then forgot about the food that you were cooking on the stove.
Right.
Versus focusing on and prioritizing on what needs to get done right now. And then once that is completed, then go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
versus trying to do everything at once. I used to be so proud of myself because I was a multitasker. Remember, I used to say that all the time?
Yeah.
And now it's like, yeah, no, it's
Well,
like.
the thing is that you can do research on multitasking and it doesn't fucking work. Like if you look at the research, it doesn't work.
Yes.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So at school, if someone would have taught us how to listen and how to focus, we would have been better off. Most people think that shit comes normal, and it does not come normal.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be taught.
Yep. Moving into like something a little bit different, but we were talking about the other day, just like different types of people, right? How, well, like me and you, we're both different, even in the way we exercise. Like you exercise in one way where I exercise a different way. Not that one way is better than the other. They're just different. Where like for you, you'll fucking lift weights and you'll get that fucking burn and fire and all that shit. And you love that. Like where you can't walk and stuff like that. It's like, this feels great. I got to fucking crawl up the stairs. You know?
I feel strong.
I feel strong even though I can't walk up the stairs. But for me, I told you, like, I fucking hate that. Like that pushing through like one more fucking rep. And it feels like I'm going to fucking explode.
So crazy. Yes.
But for you, I said, like, I'll set a timer and I'll do like misery for fucking 30 minutes. Or like set a goal. Like, all right, well, today you're doing this. 100 of these or 1,000 of these or this many miles.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I guess I'll just fucking do one after the other until I get done. Or one foot in front of the other until I finish what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
But it's just funny, like how it's two different things.
This is it. If I start running, I don't like to run. I don't want to run. It just does not sit well with my soul. My soul doesn't like it. It does not like it. It just doesn't. And it's not that I can't do it. I mean, I ran 4 miles with you. If I would have kept going because it's something that I wanted to do, something that I wanted to accomplish, I would have kept doing it with you. I love the fact that it was with you.
Okay.
Do you understand? And that I can be with you and push through it with you. But did I? Fuck no, I did not enjoy it. I do not like running. So what I like to do, I like to lift. I love to jump rope because I can dance with that jump rope and it feels good to me, you know, and I love to box and kickbox, but I really enjoy strength training. I love, I can't even tell you what I just love it. My soul likes strength training. That's what I like to do. And you know what? I continue to do strength train or box, kickbox, because that's what I like to do. So I have a higher chance at continuing doing the things that I like to do. Because if I decide to run, guess what? I'm probably going to run for a day or two. But to keep doing that, it's not something that I like to do. So more than likely, I'm not going to stay consistent.
Right.
And a lot of time, I'm going to quit.
It's crazy because it's like there has to be some kind of balance because it's not like you can get away with not doing things that you don't want to do.
Right.
You know, you have to do things
Push
that
yourself.
you don't want to do.
Yes.
But then at the same time, you can also play these games with yourself.
You have to play a different game. Yes.
Where it's like, well, this is what I'm good at. So I'm going to do it like this for me. You know, kind of like we're talking about, like the working out, like your way works for you.
Yes.
This way works for me. Exactly.
You have to find that way. You got to figure out. And this is with everything in life, not just working out.
And then like in life, there are situations where guess what? There is no other way.
You got to do it.
You just got to fucking get it done.
Right. Like owning a business. Yeah. There's certain things that you have to do that you don't like to do, but you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's things that you don't have to do, but you want to strengthen your mind endurance. So you do it, like cold plunges or sitting in a sauna for 45 minutes.
Right.
Right. But that's something too that I can push myself to do. Going like, you know how people try so many different diets and it's like, it just doesn't work because it's not for them.
Yeah.
Keto worked for me until it didn't. Like now I want to eat strawberries and raspberries and blueberries.
Because you're a dirty hippie.
With I like kimchi. There's just certain foods that I want and that don't work on keto. So that's what I'm doing for now. And if things change in the future where I get back on, I dill stew better. I still do better with keto, right? Like we but I want my berries. And when you're doing strict keto, you can't have strawberries. You can't have mango, salsa. Like you just, right? So it's like, as long as I'm eating real food, then that's okay. You just got to figure out what's going to work for you long term and have a balance. Like you have to be balanced.
And guess what? Fucking keto, paleo, all this bullshit. This is all shit that somebody made up. Just like we talked about before with all the other shit in life. Somebody made up keto. Somebody made up paleo. Somebody made up all this stuff.
Yeah.
So do what's right for you. Whatever you feel. If you feel good, if you feel healthy, don't bullshit yourself. Like I told Joey. Joey was telling me something about one of his friends saying something about him being weak or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like you don't have to listen to what anybody says.
Mm-hmm. So
first of all, do you know what it looks like to be in shape? Yeah. Have you seen people that are in shape? Yes. Are you in shape? Yes or no? That's a yes or no question. Okay, either you are or you aren't. Are you strong or are you weak? But the thing is that you don't need somebody else to be putting a label on you on what you are.
Yes. And I had that same conversation with him because he has a friend that is overweight. And Joey is not overweight. He has gained some weight. And this little boy calls Joey skinny. Like, oh, you're super skinny. So, but his friend is overweight. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm talking to Joey and talking to him about his belief in himself and looking, in the mirror, kind of like what you were talking to him about, but also getting him to understand that people that don't feel good about themselves, they're going to try to make you feel a certain way because they need to bring you down a notch. Because Joey,
well, yeah, and we were talking about that, and I was like, you know what? Because I've mentioned this on here before. Fighting is one thing that people are delusional about. I don't know what the fuck it is about fighting that makes people think that you've never fought a day in your life, but all of a sudden you get into some shit and like now you're Keanu Reeves and John Wick. Like you've never shot your pistol, but you have it in the safe. And then when somebody breaks through your door, you're going to fucking do a shoulder roll and 2 in the chest, 1 in the head. It doesn't work that way. And fights don't work that way either. And Joey was talking to his friend and it's like, well, what about, or I don't know what the conversation was, but it was just kind of like
karate. He does karate.
I'll just do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you fight with people all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, gi, no gi, whatever. Like if somebody, what would you do? You do this, do that. And then, I was like, but people think for some reason that they're going to do something when they've never practiced. It's like, that's not reality, So you don't have to listen to what anybody else says. You know what you're capable of. You know whether you're in shape, whether you're not in shape, whether you need work to do. Just don't bullshit yourself.
That's why I told him, Joey, we created a document. I can't get into that. It's already time for us to get out of here. But I'm like, once you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anyone has to say about you.
That I had that thought a little bit earlier in the podcast when you were talking about it does suck, but not really, because, and it's like almost like an ego thing or whatever. But like when you were saying that, like when I would be saying something to you and I would stop talking, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not confident in yourself, it's going to hurt your fucking feelings, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to get upset with the other person because they're not fucking listening to what you're trying to tell them. But for me, like, I know what it is. Like, I'm trying to tell you something probably fucking about jujitsu. Probably, right? 90% of the time. It's probably some jujitsu shit. Hey, babe, fucking twist this dude's arm this way. You're like, shut the fuck up already. You know what I mean? But, like, I know who I am. You know, it's like, I don't.
Well, you also know that I love you.
And I know you love me. It's like, all right, whatever. You're not fucking into, I'm out of here. You know? It's not going to hurt. Like, I'm not heartbroken. I don't need to get mad.
Yeah. Once you know who you are, it doesn't matter. It will roll off of you.
Like water off a duck's back.
For reals. Once you know who you are. And in order to go and figure out who you are, you have to spend time.
You got to sit with yourself.
With you. Or hire a coach like me.
480-331-9846. Send us a message, oppositesattractpodcast.com for a gifting session with Sonja. And yeah, man, you've been kicking ass with the clients and the things that you're doing. And after this podcast, we're gonna get to work a little bit on the coaching business, and we got some new stuff. The editing might be done by AI this time, so you guys might, check it out on YouTube and Facebook. Let us know how it goes. We'll see. But yeah, we're trying some new things. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
together. Bye.